Only 40 more days until I go on vacation, and I'm done covering other people's vacations. I will survive. I will survive. I can do this. These are my monthly recommendations for the month of July. Monthly Recommendations is a Goodreads group created by Trina and Kayla. I will leave the Goodreads group and their channels in the description below for you guys to go ahead and check out if you want to join us. They pick a topic for every month, and people pick books based on that topic to recommend basically to each other as a community. So here are the books I am recommending for the theme Empowering Female Leads. So here are the books I recommend to you for females that I have been encouraged by, I have enjoyed reading about them, and I found empowering. The first one is probably the most obvious, but that is Katniss Everdeen from The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I couldn't make a list. Actually, it's really hard for me to make any list without putting The Hunger Games on it because it is one of my favorite book series. And I really enjoyed Katniss's character. I loved watching her grow from start to finish for The Hunger Games to Mockingjay, and just seeing the change in her character. Suzanne Collins wrote excellent character development for all of her characters, but I found Katniss and Effie were probably my favorite two development of characters. Katniss goes through so much, but she does so quite selflessly, trying to help others around her and trying to keep the ones she loves safe rather than herself. I kind of think she is the start for this trend of empowering female leads, and it is a good way to start. My next female lead is from a new favorite of mine, Close to You by Kira Isaac. Alison Shire is a disgraced scholar who is running from her past. Leaving her past behind her, she becomes a tour guide for the film locations of the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies in New Zealand. What I like about Alison is that she knows that she needs to make a turn in her life. She knows that needs to come from somewhere, and she knows she needs to do it. She also knows that she is fighting it because she just doesn't want to give in. But I did really appreciate the character growth and development in Alison. I like that she is highly intelligent, she is people smart, she is accepting of people and the weirdness, and really good with just dealing with all sorts of different people. And she was definitely no damsel in distress, and she didn't let the little things bother her. Getting lost in the middle of New Zealand? Let's make a day out of it. I'm going to do my best to try and get out of this situation. She didn't want to lean in anybody, but she did accept help when she did need it. My next recommendation is another favorite from this year, and that is Jacobi by William Ritter. This features Abigail Brooke. Abigail does not want to be the society's little woman staying at home while the men go out on the adventure, or the socialite that her mother wishes that she was. Instead, she runs away from school in Europe, Austria, I believe it was. She runs away from school, leaves her parents a note, and takes off on a random boat and ends up in New England, United States, where she meets the strangest private investigator she's ever met, R.F. Jacobi, a private investigator of the paranormal. Abigail is whisked off on the adventure that she is seeking and refuses to get left behind. I loved Abigail's spunkiness, I loved her enthusiasm, I loved her acceptance of just strange things, and her trust in Jacobi when others doubted him. She is an extremely strong character. She doesn't want to get left behind. She wants to be a part of it. She wants to help, and she wants to be there for people. Her adventurous spirit was highly encouraging, and I just love that she didn't want to be the little woman left behind to do all the womanly chores, that she wanted to be out in the action and the adventure along with the men, and half the time she pulled her weight better than some of the men did in the book. She's a very fun, spunky character that I think all of you will love, and I highly recommend the Jacobi book series if you have not done so already. I know I've mentioned it 1,000 times. What are you waiting for? Go pick it up. My next spunky female lead is Miranda Herringford from The Bachelor Girl's Guide to Murder by Rachel McMillan. Miranda Herringford does not want to fill in society's expectations of women, yet breaks the mold. Wearing trousers where that is definitely frowned upon in a Victorian-era Toronto, Ontario, Miranda wants to be the first female private detective, and she is doing so on her own terms. Refusing to fit in societal molds, she fights the boundaries placed on women of that time period and in that area, and does her own thing quite dramatically and quite well. I really liked Miranda. Half the time you kind of thought she was clueless to a lot of things, but secretly I think she caught on to a lot of things, and you kind of catch that toward the end. I really enjoyed kind of seeing what a female version of a Sherlock would be, and you definitely got a good taste of that in Miranda Herringford. I like how she pushed Jem out of her comfort zone to the point of almost being in danger, yet was always looking out for her friend at the same time. So if you're looking for a good spunky female detective, definitely pick up The Bachelor Girl's Guide to Murder by Rachel McMillan. My next recommendation is Chivalrous by Dina Slayman. Chivalrous is actually the second book in the Valiant Hearts trilogy, but I want to recommend it because it's actually the book that made me fall in love with the trilogy. I did enjoy Dauntless, but not nearly as much as I enjoyed Chivalrous, and I loved the main character, Gwendolyn Barnes, but all of the women in this book actually just have such an empowering moment and empowering roles in this book that it just gave me so much hope when I was feeling so down. It was just a really low moment in my life, and when I read that book I just had an empowering moment in my own personal life, and it was just what I needed at that time. Gwendolyn longs to be a chivalrous knight like her brothers, but unfortunately her father only views her as a marriage pawn. So Gwendolyn is seen as nothing as a marriage pawn, but that doesn't stop her from trying to be the person that she knows is on the inside. She is told to make herself look smaller, make herself look more delicate to try and attract men. She has to really hide who her true self is until she meets Ellens of Ellsworth, where she can just stand up straight, be herself, and be who she wants to be, and be who God made her to be. And it is just a beautiful story. But all the women play this really amazing role. There's her mother, the handmaiden, and the Duchess all have this really strong, empowering moment in the book. All these women are just broken, have gone through things, have to face things, yet they all just kind of bound together to draw strength off one another to get what needs to be done. And it was just a beautiful, empowering moment. This is the book that made me love the series, even though I haven't even read the third book yet. It is probably one of my favorite books of the year. You need to pick it up. It is fantastic. If you didn't like Dauntless, keep going. Chivalrous just makes it so much better and pushes it over the edge. So those are my recommendations for the month of July for empowering female leads. It's really encouraging to see these female characters kind of take shape now, where you can have strong female role models. So it's really good to start seeing that as a trend in our entertainment world and our reading world. So these are the books that I found empowering and encouraging, so you should go and check those out. Let me know in the comments below if you have read any of these books, or if you have any questions about these books. I will be more than willing to talk to you about them. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!